Welcome to another edition of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Joining me this evening is our fabulous producer, Wayne Ridenauer in Memphis, Tennessee. And you can catch us all at ATL Prime Sports on all social medias. That's Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. At JJ Get You One for my personal Twitter, at RWY Jr. for Wayne, at Corder Todd for Todd Corder, and at LG for Real Though for Larry Gardner. Both out this evening. Larry probably has Rome Emperor's duties or family duties, and TC is doing a little bit of umpiring down there in his community. Wayne, how you doing this evening, my friend?
Man, I want to tell you, I wish I was doing, well, I am doing better than Texas. As a matter of fact, they dropped 2 to Houston, then dropped 2 to your Atlanta Braves, and then they dumped 1 against Seattle at home. So we'll see what they do tonight. I think John, I forgot his last name, is pitching for Texas. So maybe we'll get something good going at the start.
Yeah, Seattle's winning that NL West as we speak right now by a half game. It's been a very interesting early part of the season for the NL West. I'm doing well, not nearly as well as Reggie Bush, though. Earlier today, the NCAA reinstated his 2005 Heisman Trophy, and that he forfeited, I should say, in 2010 amidst NCAA sanctions for Southern Cal. The changing landscape of college football helped this happen. I am all for it. Congratulations to not only Reggie Bush, but to the NCAA for getting it right. Hats off. They actually did something right for a change. What's on tap for today's show? Will McFadden of the Falcoholic joins us to talk more NFL draft, with the draft being tomorrow. And we'll talk about the NBA playoffs a little bit, and a little Max Fried throws a Maddux. We'll talk about that. But without further ado, starting off the gates this evening with the Falcoholic contributor and friend of the show, Will McFadden, joins ATL Prime Sports. Will, thanks for joining. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well, JJ Wayne. It's always great to hop on with you guys. I am excited to dig into the draft. It is finally here. It's been a long process, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll start out a little away from the draft. I'm really anxious to hear if you have any updates. I kind of know the answers to the tampering allegations, though, with Kirk Cousins. We talked about this in passing last time you were on a couple weeks ago. What's the latest news on that front? I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit more severe, and it kind of seems like it might be.
Well, yeah, it seemed like it was maybe going to come down this week. I think Adam Schefter got kind of people fired up a little bit Monday, just detailing some of it of the tampering investigation and what it could look like. And he said, both the Eagles, the Falcons are being investigated. He expects the Falcons penalty to be a little bit more severe. And then he broke down some kind of recent tampering penalties that the league has handed out, most notably with the Dolphins for kind of pursuing Tom Brady and Sean Payton. And that was it. That cost them off the top of my, it was a first round kind of the next year, and I believe a third round to go with that. And so it looks like maybe you're getting something along those lines, but the good news is that it's not going to be this year. Right. And so then on Tuesday, he kind of came back out and was like, all right, let's pump the brakes. There's not going to be anything coming this week from the league. Investigation is ongoing. The Falcons, for their part, have said that they have continued to be very cooperative with everything, which, they should be, because Kirk Cousins came right out and said it during his press conference that he had spoken with the trainer, which is a no-no. So maybe it'll be a next year. Maybe it'll be a first or something like that, which would be a pretty heavy penalty. But the hope is, if you're Atlanta, that pick is somewhere in the 20s and not in the top 10 like it has been for the last couple of years. So no real news, I think. Well, that's the news this week, but I don't expect any more news on that front until, the draft is settled down. And then maybe kind of in that dead part of summer, maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll get some resolution to all of this. But yeah, at least the Falcons have all their picks for the 2024 draft.
Yeah, that's huge. I think it'll be a little bit more severe than we even think. I think they're going to try and make an example of the Atlanta Falcons.
They
And
always
that'll be
do.
yeah, like we talked about last time, that daggum crowd noise, man. It was a 6th-round pick they dropped us for it. So, well, and again, we'll get into the draft in just a second, but Matt Ryan signs a 1-day contract to retire a Falcons. Your thoughts on his career, and does he get into the Hall of Fame in your opinion, Will?
That's actually something that me and my co-host Ovi Mahaley talked about on Believe in Falcons Tuesday, and it was really, really cool to hear some of the stories that Ovi had to share about Matt Ryan from his time just like as a rookie on the team, and the command in the locker room that he demanded from veterans, and he got everybody right and this is why I think his Hall of Fame legacy is much stronger than the national media talks about. When you look at where the Falcons were in 2007, I think anybody who is a Falcons fan remembers it very well. You're going from Joey Harrington, Byron Leftwich, Chris Redmond, like all of this rotation at quarterback. Bobby Petrino leaves with 3 games left. And to hear Ovi talk about it, he's coming from a Ravens organization that was winning Super Bowls, that was looked at as kind of a model organization for the rest of the NFL. And he's seeing guys, he named D'Angelo Hall, so I feel comfortable also naming D'Angelo Hall. But guys like that who were supposed leaders on the team just really not show those leadership traits and not hold the team together when everything else was falling apart. And so that is the situation that Matt Ryan walked into as a rookie at a time when rookies did not start at quarterback. Peyton Manning had broken the mold on that, and his rookie year was not good. So you could have totally been excused as a general manager, as a head coach at the time for saying, no, even though we drafted him 3rd overall, he's sitting for a year. The Falcons didn't do that. I think part of that has to do with Matt Ryan and the character and the type of player and person that he is. Part of that, though, goes back to exactly what I was talking about in 2007. They needed a reset. Not only does he get off to an incredibly strong start, but we know the rest, right? He is the most accomplished player in franchise history. His passer rating in that Super Bowl that everybody loves to hold against him was a 144.1. It is the highest passer rating of any quarterback in the Super Bowl since they have started counting that metric. Better than Patrick Mahomes, better than any of Tom Brady's, better than Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, whoever. And so if we're going to sit here and hold that Super Bowl against Matt Ryan for his Hall of Fame candidacy, I think people are totally missing the boat. He has done everything, in my opinion, to warrant a gold jacket. And I hope he gets one day.
I think he should. I think he will. And you touched on it. Guys, we're talking about a guy that won a ton of football games for these guys. A losing franchise. Over 70% of the time, this franchise has been on this planet. They have lost games.
Yeah.
This guy's won a good portion of those games. Top 10 in passing, just about every category. Touchdowns, yards. Guy didn't miss. I mean, the leadership on the field, the sound bites, Toledo, and then get sleeping set. We all know those. Leader on the field, leader off of it, better guy on the field, better guy off the field. I mean, he's just your typical pro's pro. There's not many of those guys left. He took the Deshaun Watson, we thought Deshaun Watson was coming here. Everybody broke it. Then he took that, hey, all right, if this we're going to move on, let me go here. And he took it with stride, comes back. So, yeah, he should definitely be a Hall of Famer, 100%. You're listening to Will McFadden right here on ATL Prime Sports. You can find Will on X at Will McFadden. And let's go ahead and get into that draft. We've kind of talked about it. You still thinking the Falcons go edge rusher at number 8 overall, or have you changed your tone, cornerback? Where are you going?
I do think it will ultimately be edge, but I'll give you a couple of caveats to that I've been thinking about since we last spoke. I do think it's very likely that Falcons entertain trade offers. I think that the recent rumors about Michael Penix potentially going as high as 8, even Byron Murphy, who has gained some late steam, my smoke detector started going off a little bit with those because of the timing. Not to say that they're not great players, right? I think Byron Murphy is an awesome player, and it makes sense given the fact that I have my doubts that David Onyemata and Grady Jarrett, as weird as it is to say about Grady Jarrett, are going to be with this team past the 2024 season. I mean, if you look at their cap hits, if you look at just the overall cap situation, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for both of them. So you could potentially draft an impact player. I mean, that would be a heck of a three-man kind of front right there. I know you're missing a nose tackle. They're all a little bit lighter in the pants, but that would be a lot of juice on the interior. However, I just don't think that that's where the Falcons' heads are right now. I do still think it's edge, but I think they are throwing up a lot of signs to other teams saying, hey, given the fact that these top three edge rushers, and I know everybody likes to discount Jared Verse. I really like Jared Verse as a player. Again, I think the scheme, if Ryan Nielsen was here, I would feel very confident that Jared Verse would be in the mix. But right now, really, I think it's Dallas Turner and I think it's Leatu Latu. You could probably get one of those two in the mid-teens if everything falls as predicted. It takes two to tango, but the Falcons are doing everything they can to let, I think, people know, look, we may take the guy that you want here. So if you want him, come get him. The Bears may take the guy you want here. If you want him, come get him. I think that's a distinct possibility. The other caveat is just today I was thinking about, all right, if, I don't know, Arnold Ebiketie gets hurt, goes down, you still have Lorenzo Carter, you still have Ade Ogundeji, you still have Zach Harrison, you still have a few of these guys, Bud Dupree, Calais Campbell, still out there as free agents. There are options. If AJ Terrell goes down, I don't know what your option. If Clark Phillips goes down, I don't know what your option is. You know, like there's not as much depth in the secondary as there is in that front seven. So that makes me wonder, all right, is all of this edge conversation a little bit of a smokescreen or misnomer in and of itself? And could corner, and there are really some really good corners in at the top of this draft, whether that's Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. I really like Cooper DeJean. I think that could make sense as well. However, my final prediction for the Falcons, whether it's at 8 or whether they do find a partner to trade with, I still think it's going to be Leatu Latu. I just look at the versatility. He can play kind of everywhere along that defensive front. He plays with his hair on fire. He can play the run and the pass. He is by far the most pro-ready pass rusher at this point in time. And I think that right there lines up with the Falcons' current window and trajectory. You know, they went in on Kirk Cousins. They are giving him a huge contract this year and next year. That means you got to reach the playoffs 2024 and 2025. I think from day one, Latu steps in and gives you the most out of these three. That doesn't mean I don't think Dallas Turner doesn't have a very high ceiling and isn't going to be a great player. And if he's the pick, it'll make a lot of sense as well. But I just think that Latu is ready to go right out of the package, and he does bring that kind of all across the line versatility, which I think is going to be important in this defensive scheme. I know the medicals could be a reason teams are scared off. Jimmy Lake was there in Washington when it all went down. So, you know, that may be a non-starter. And if it is, I'm going to look like an idiot. However, if that was a major red flag, I think we would have been hearing about that already. You know, it would have come out after the combine that teams had wiped him off their board completely. The other thing I've heard is arm length is kind of a concern. I went down, actually, I've got the list right here in front of me. Here are some of the players who have arm lengths either the same or shorter than Leatu Latu. Trey Hendrickson, Derek Barnett, Aiden Hutchinson, Yannick Ngakoue, Bud Dupree, George Karlaftis. Those are all really good pass rushers. So
really good pass rushers.
I'm just not that concerned about his arm length, and I think he brings a lot to the table. So I really think Leatu Latu would be an excellent addition, and that's who I think they'll go with.
Larry would be happy with you. Larry's been preaching that to that choir about 4 or 5 months, it seems like, even in the prior to the off season. He's been marching that band. So I'm on the Dallas Turner train. I love the upside, the athleticism, but I'm with you. I think one of those two guys is good. I used to be on the curse train, but I was like you. If Nielsen's here, it's a better fit. No longer here. Chances the Falcons draft a quarterback at some point during this draft, Will.
I would say it's pretty high. Raheem Morris himself has said they'd like to add a third player to the position. I'm not even discounting it as a potential option in the first round if they really do think Michael Penix, and that's kind of what we've heard Diana Rossini reporting, that he's maybe the best kept secret in this draft that the media is not talking about, but teams are. I mean, if they feel like, hey, he is truly going to be an ascendant player, and once Kirk is done, we can have our guy for the next decade. I mean, they failed that after Matt Ryan. That would make sense. But again, I would just look at it as maybe a missed bullet in the chamber for the 2024 season. And now, considering maybe the tampering investigation, if they lose a high draft pick next year, is that a couple of years where you're not drafting a player who is going to see the field and is going to be kind of waiting in the wings? That's my only concern with the first round pick. But I do think it's very likely that they could add a player day 2, day 3, depending on who is there. If that's a Spencer Rattler, if that's a Michael Pratt, I like both of those guys. And there are some interesting options later on in the draft as well. So I think it's pretty likely that they do add a quarterback. But where that will be, I'm not quite sure at this point in time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Kirk Cousins, the injury history's there. He's over 35 years old. It's definitely a quarterback-driven league. And guys like Spencer Rattler come into mind, and Tulane Pratt comes into mind, guys like that later in the round. So I know you got to go real quick. Give me one surprise in this draft that no one's looking forward to. Doesn't have to necessarily be with the Falcons. Mine is I think the Chargers do trade that number 5 overall pick with Minnesota, and Minnesota takes J.J. McCarthy. That's my biggest surprise. What say you? And then tell our listeners how they can catch you on social media.
Yeah, this is something that I think has picked up a little bit of steam recently. I wouldn't be shocked if you see J.C. Latham go really high, much higher than I think a lot of the mocks have him going. My own mocks, I've got him kind of later mid-teens, if not into the 20s. But based on some recent reporting, he just seems like a very sure thing. And if you are the Chargers and you could keep Rashawn Slater maybe over at left tackle and he could come in and play right tackle for you, like that feels like a Jim Harbaugh type of pick. So again, I'm totally just copying other people that had said this as well. So this isn't just coming from me. If I'm wrong, blame them, not me. However, that is something that I've heard that really is kind of stuck in the back of my mind recently, is J.C. Latham as a name that could maybe go a little bit higher. And then Xavier Worthy is another one, a receiver who is just an absolute speed demon, could go a little bit higher than people expect. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Will McFadden. I still say Twitter. I don't really care one way or the other what it's branded. And then Believe in Falcons today just put up a kind of a draft prediction extravaganza is what I called it, but called in a bunch of the Falcons experts out there to just get their final prediction on who the team will draft, whether that's at number 8 or in a trade back. So if you want to get kind of a whole gauntlet of predictions, you can find that wherever you listen to your podcast. But this has been great, guys. Thank you so much as always for having me. And, I really look forward to seeing who the Falcons draft tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're excited. You can't win a Super Bowl in April, but you should sure get close, right, Will?
Yes, you can.
All right. Well,
That's
Will,
Will
thanks
McFadden of the Falcoholic right here on ATL Prime Sports. Wayne, go ahead real quick.
I was just going to thank you for being on the show there, and we'll have all your links in the YouTube description so people have easy access to those things.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yep. And happy to come on the flip side of the draft maybe and talk about who they've actually picked.
All right.
Absolutely. Will McFadden of the Falcoholic, thank you so much, Will. You have yourself a wonderful weekend, man, and enjoy the draft.
Y'all too. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on from Will McFadden, talking about the NFL draft and Matt Ryan's Hall of Fame career, in my opinion, Hall of Fame career. Give our quick opinions real quick, Wayne. Your thoughts on Latu who Will thinks the Falcons will draft at 8 overall.
I mean, that's a possibility. I'm looking more for an edge rush than anything. And I guess my only surprise in the draft, and I don't know how big of a surprise this is, but I don't think that Bo Nix is going to go in the first round. He might not even go in the second.
Bo Nix will go in the first round. I think Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler might be the first two quarterbacks taken outside of the first round. So I'm looking forward to draft night. It's one of my favorite nights of the NFL season. Again, it kicks off the new year. Falcons, unfortunately, were in the top 10 as Falcons fans. But hey, again, you can get a lot closer to a Super Bowl in April. You sure the heck can't win one. But I'm excited. I think the Falcons are finally moving in the right direction with front office, quarterback. Everybody seems to be on the same page, and that is what's most exciting. Let's go ahead and move from the NFL to Major League Baseball. Max Fried threw his third Maddux of his career in a 5-0 win over the Marlins Tuesday night. Is Max Fried back to normal? As Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. He's close, but not so fast. He look, one start in the right direction, yes. 92 pitches Tuesday night, 69 for strikes, 18 ground ball outs, Wayne. 18 ground ball outs. Yeah. That's what I want to see all day. That's what Maddux did the best. Let's get the ball in play, let the fielders make their plays. 18 ground ball outs, 6 strikeouts, just a bit over the over-under for that game. So 6 Ks, a great outing for sure. That doesn't take away from the first 2 starts where he gave up 11 runs, 10 of them earned, extremely high ERA. Fried gave up a home run in those first 2 starts, and he had 4 base on balls. He's walked 9 on the season. He didn't walk a batter Tuesday night, which means he is, again, heading in the right direction. I can't quite go out on a limb and say he's back yet, but it's looking better. I think the extended season the last couple years, laying off, getting back up, I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I don't know if the contract year had anything to do with it, and he tried to outpitch and outthrow and just forgot about mechanics the first 2 starts. But I think it's starting the right direction. When he gets 2 or 3 in a row, then we'll say Max Fried's back. But right now it's just one good start, and he's a great pitcher. So I'm pretty sure the Braves and Braves country won't have to worry too much because the Braves are 16-6 heading into Wednesday night's series finale versus Miami. So let's pump the brakes and say Max Fried's back or not. He's a great pitcher. He had one good start. That's what he's supposed to do, is get out there, get the win, and give the Atlanta Braves the best chance to win they possibly can. So he is close to back. He's looking a lot better than the first 3 starts of this season. So we'll see. He's got a 2-0 record, and he lowered his ERA to 4.97 on the season. So I'm excited. Looking good for the Atlanta Braves with the injuries, with the pitching woes, starting pitching woes, that is, at first. Seems like everybody's starting to settle down. Charlie Morton, Chris Sale, and now even Max Fried. So good sign. Max Fried's well on his way to being back, but I can't say he's quite back yet till you get in that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row streaks of good quality starts. We're working all of his pitches. But one thing that was interesting, Max Fried has 7 pitches. He threw 4 or 5 of them at least 14 times. So he can use all those pitches at any given time. And that just makes him even more valuable because if something isn't working, he can go to another pitch. So very interesting start to the season for Max Fried, but here we are, a complete game shutout and his 3rd Maddux of his career. And folks, if you're wondering what a Maddux is, it's basically a complete game shutout under 100 pitches. There you go. Yeah. So Maddux had 13 of them. And already Max Fried has 3 of them, which is 3rd most all time in an Atlanta Braves uniform. So pretty impressive stuff there. Wayne, your thoughts on the Atlanta Braves right now? We're pretty hot and heavy at 16-6.
Well, I mean, they're cooking right along like they're expected to. But the question I would have about this whole Maddux thing is, what are your thoughts on if Maddux would have played for the Expos or for the uh, Toronto Blue Jays? Would we all be pronouncing his name Mado?
You never know. Thank goodness we don't have to worry about it. Wayne, your Rangers, they're in a fight for their life in the NL West, my friend.
Yeah, well, they've already let one run slide in today's game, so I won't give it away for anybody who's hadn't seen the game yet.
Yeah, the Yankees still atop the AL East at 16-8 going into Wednesday night. The Guardians, best team in baseball at 17-6, sit atop the Central. And again, the Mariners, half game above your Rangers at 12-11 in the West. National League standings, obviously, the Braves are 16-6 and 2 games up on the Phillies. Brew Crew, 14-8, hold down the Central, half game over the Chicago Cubs. And then the West, it's a bloodbath. The 14-11 Los Angeles Dodgers hold a 1.5 game lead over the Padres and just a 2.5 game lead over the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Again, it's a bloodbath out there. That's your Major League Baseball standings. Let's get into the NBA playoffs. They are in full swing, Wayne. Who do you have winning the NBA Finals, Wayne? Give me a prediction.
Well, I'm just going to go with the obvious and say the Denver Nuggets seem to be the ones that have the best chance.
I got it too.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, well, I was up in Denver October of last year, and I can tell you all the major league sports teams up there in Denver are very well supported.
Yes, they are. Rockies, Avalanche, Nuggets,
Broncos.
The Broncos. And when they stink, the locals call them the Doncos. So, we'll see. But yeah, no, very interesting. I have the same thing. I have the Nuggets beating the Celtics in 6 games. In the East, it's pretty easy. Jimmy Butler, Antetokounmpo, Donovan Mitchell, Joel Embiid, all hampered with injuries. The Celtics' best shot to win it all is this year with all that going down. So I think Tatum and the Celtics just ride on through. In the West, Denver will keep its best players on the floor, which is Murray and Jokic, of course. They're going to lean on Aaron Gordon at center. Celtics and Nuggets were the betting favorites going into the postseason. And, I think it's fairly easy to say. I think the best players in basketball usually win you the most games. And Jokic looks like another MVP award. Yeah. And he looks like he's going to be the best player in these playoffs. And Mike Malone's a great coach. He's done nothing but won 50-plus games the last 2 years and an NBA championship to cap off his time in Denver. So great coaching, great players. That usually wins you an NBA championship. And I'll leave it pretty much simple as that. I think some contenders, the Timberwolves, play some pretty good defense. They held Kevin Durant. They're up 2-0, by the way, in that series. They held Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Booker to 18 of 45 shooting in a Game 2 loss. So Timberwolves up 2-0 on the Suns. It's only the second time in franchise history that the Timberwolves have held a 2-0 lead in the playoffs. So that's pretty interesting. The Clippers in Dallas, that series is tied at 1 apiece in the West. Game 3, 8 p.m. Friday in Dallas. The Nuggets and the Lakers. Again, Nuggets are up 2-0 already on the Lakers in that one. Game 3 Thursday night at 10 p.m. on TNT. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the number 1 seed. The Pelicans, the 8th seed. OKC already up 1-0. Game 2 will tip tonight, Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. in OKC on TNT. Flipping to the East. Celtics, Miami, the C's are up 1-0. Game 2 underway right now on TNT. New York Knicks, the 2nd seed. Philadelphia 76ers, the 7th seed. Knicks up 2-0 on them. Game 3, Thursday in Philadelphia. That game's also on TNT. The Bucks, the 3rd seed. I almost said 76ers again. The Indiana Pacers, the 6th seed. That series is tied at 1 apiece. Again, Antetokounmpo, a little hampered by an injury. Game 3 of that one, Friday in Indiana at 5:30 p.m. on ESPN. And then the Cavs and the Magic. Cavs up 2-0 in that one. Game 3, 7 p.m. Thursday in Orlando on NBA TV. Wayne, any final thoughts on the NBA before we get to our final thought of the show?
No, that is it.
That is it. Yeah, the NBA, man, it's, to me, it's just not as interesting as it used to be. I think it's too high scoring. I like more defense. I like hand checking. But I have been paying attention to these playoffs, and I do like Jokic and these Nuggets. Boy, I like to watch that Serbian play. But he needs to watch out for his brothers. They could be a distraction. They're over there in the stands, socking fans in the face. I've seen the video. It's pretty interesting.
They don't happen to have a foil on under the gloves, do they?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But Jokic brothers look like they can throw a punch. That's for sure. And police are looking for them in L.A. In Denver, L.A. one. I can't remember where the game was off the top of my head. But yeah, Jokic, tell your brothers to pump the brakes a little bit in the stands. Let's get to our final thought. Short, quick, easy show tonight. Caitlin Clark does it again, Wayne.
Yeah.
Signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike that includes his signature shoe. The new deal will be the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player ever. So that nonsense about her not getting paid more in the WNBA versus NIL is nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, she just got paid by Nike with the signature shoe. Saw a clip with the Indiana Fever today with her working with her new teammates. Looked pretty good to me, Diana Taurasi. So maybe the WNBA should watch out for my girl, Caitlin Clark. And that's my final thought. Wayne, your final thought for the evening, my friend.
Man, I'm just wish some of my teams do better. Right now, their Maple Leafs are tied 1-1 against the Bruins, and they're playing right now. No score yet. Well, Maple Leafs just scored, so maybe my luck's changing.
Sometimes you got to down talk your teams for them to perform. But yeah, the NHL playoffs are underway as well. What a wonderful, wonderful playoff the NHL has for their Stanley Cup. Extremely exciting. I was watching a game the other night, the Avalanche game. Lots of scoring in that one with Winnipeg, the former Atlanta team. It was like 7-6. Lots of goals in the first period. Denver, another great team.
Right.
Could have 2 championships in that city this year. They just kept on fighting till the very end. Scored with like 22, 23 seconds left, somewhere around there. And, the NHL playoffs are nothing but exciting. Well, folks, that wraps us up for another edition of ATL Prime Sports. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, hit that notification button so you are notified when our latest video drops. And that'll do it. For Wayne in Memphis, I'm JJ in Lilburn, Georgia. Thanks for watching ATL Prime Sports. We'll see you next week, everybody. Get you one.